Welcome to the Sustaining Creativity Podcast. I'm your host, Mari Reesberg. Over the past several years, I've combined my degrees in acting and somatic psychology to share my sustaining creativity techniques with performers. And now I've decided to share it with a bigger audience that includes you. I believe we are all creative, and this podcast is all about that. I'll be interviewing people from all backgrounds, ages, and creativity experiences to share just how creative we all are. Today, I'll be chatting with Mabel Benita. She's an early 20s content creator, enthusiastic about self-growth, and the host of the Squash podcast. Please enjoy Mabel Benita. Welcome to the Sustaining Creativity Podcast. Today, I am here with Mabel Benita. She's a content creator, podcast host of the Squash podcast. Welcome to the Sustaining Creativity Podcast.
Thank you so very much. It's a pleasure being here. Thank you.
Yeah. And if you wouldn't mind just letting our listeners know a little bit more about who you are and what you do.
Okay, so she already said I'm a podcast host. I have my own podcast, The Squash. I started about 8 months ago. Yes, and it has been, I will tell you, it has not been easy. Before then, I was doing skits, a little bit of comedy. I also produced animations, tried test running with Plotagon. But basically, on the podcast, I have been consistent. I have not been consistent in anything in my entire life. But I have actually been consistent with podcasting, and it's really amazing. I focus on mental health, building your mental health, encouraging ourselves. Basically, that's what I focus on.
Beautiful. I love that. Being a therapist, I fully support mental health and getting our mental health balanced and supportive and in order, because that can be a huge impact on our life. So I love that you're supporting people through your podcast and putting it out there. What a wonderful, wonderful thing. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And today we're going to chat a little bit about creativity. And it sounds like you have had quite the creative life, trying many different things and surrounding yourself with inspiration from many different areas and the world. I know right now you said you're in Dubai, which is thousands of miles from Colorado and many, many hours time difference. But I love that we were able to figure it all out. But when you think about creativity, what does it mean to you to be creative?
Okay, to me, I feel it's putting your imaginations to something physical, like you birthing new ideas, you seeing the world the way it is and still generating something unique out of that. That's you being creative. You solving problems daily is you being creative. Me and you talking is actually being creative, because not a lot of people can do that. So that is you being creative.
I love it. I love the, problem solving, thinking of new ideas on a daily basis, as that's creativity. I think a lot of people, or many people, put creativity in that box of performing arts. And I love to hear when people see it as just being human is being creative, talking is being creative, solving problems is being creative. So I think I love when that is what it means to be creative to people. Yeah. And I imagine that, not only in podcasting, but also in life, you've faced creative challenges. What are some of those challenges that you faced? And then how do you face creative challenges?
Okay, so I'll start from when I was a kid, When I was like 10, 12, thereabout. I used to write stories, just write down my imaginations, like the thoughts of my head. And I'm like, oh, maybe I'll make it into a book, something like for kids my age. And the thing is, along the line, I got stuck. trying to bring stories, like new stories, something that someone else has not done. And it was difficult, especially at that young age. So something I was struggling with, like, okay, why can't I start it? Why can't I finish it? But the thing was, what I had to do was go outside and
Mm-hmm.
just play it in my head. Okay, if this happens at scene one, what do you think? Like from movies, try and predict what will happen. Like think, just go outside and think. Picture this person coming from here. Picture this, and I'm like playing the whole scenario in my head. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh yes, got it. I'll go back in and start writing. Like yes, this is what I want to happen. You get. So after then, when I was doing skits, yes, when I was making comedy, thing is, I struggled a lot in that aspect, and that was what made me drop. That was what made me actually stop doing that. I started doing skits during the whole Corona when I think the virus brought like parts of ourselves that were sleeping.
Oh,
Like it
yeah.
really, yeah. So I love acting, like right from when I was a kid. I loved acting, but aside from in school, like high school and college, I haven't really done anything else. So I was like, okay, skits is what's raining. So let me try and do it. Let me do it. And I started coming up with stories, what's happening at home, what life in a Nigerian home. Basically, I started acting that out. But I got stuck again because going online, you see someone has done something like that. Like
Mm.
there's a story similar to yours, and it's so annoying when you know your idea came from you. You didn't see that person's story first, but someone else watching is like, oh, you copied this person, and it's
Oh.
really, really frustrating. Yeah. So what I did, I stopped watching it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just blocked out every other thing, and I was like, I'm going to act what I'm saying, what I feel right now, because in as much as the stories are the same, we are two different persons.
Yeah.
Yes, so I'm going to act the story from my view, from how I feel about it, not how the general sense. Okay, yes, we know this is what happens in a typical Nigerian home. But the fact that we are two different humans, we
Mm-hmm.
react in two different ways. I was like, okay, yes, that's what I'm going to do. And that was basically how I was able to overcome that. And I'm actually thinking of going back to it, but I'm just being lazy. I'm just being lazy about it. But basically, that it's seeing that you are unique and you are different. So
Yeah.
play that. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Um, okay, I won't say I'm a perfectionist, but I try to, do everything the way it's supposed to be. So I now ended up putting so much pressure on myself and what everybody else wanted that I lost what made me start in the
Yeah.
first place. Why I started it, I lost it. And I think the last time I did a skit was 8 months ago, because I stopped it, then I started a podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it.
I like it. And I mean, it sounds like you came to the point of, when we compare ourselves to other people, we can lose some aspects of our own creativity. And by not comparing or letting go of comparisons, we can actually cultivate more creativity in our life
Yeah,
and
that's
allow
it.
our own experience and our own expression of creativity to flourish and show up and be bigger. So what a great
Yeah.
reminder. I love it. Thank you for
Thank
that.
thank you.
And you talked about being a young child and writing. And I'm curious, what is your earliest memory of being creative? Is it being a kid and writing, or are there others?
Yes, that was the earliest. After then, I started acting in church,
Uh-huh.
but basically, I started writing first
Mhm.
before the acting. That was it.
Nice. And you said you were around 10? I love it.
Yeah.
Were you writing plays and movies, or were they, you said children's books, or the idea of writing children's books and then
Yeah. it's okay. Based on, I had a lot of novels growing up, like a whole lot of novels. So the way they script it out, yes, is act one, scene one, and we
Yeah.
just write the whole story. So when I'm stuck writing, okay, this character said this, like the way a normal script goes, instead I just write the whole story and
Hmm.
just have you read along. Like
Okay.
yeah, so when we're having that family time, I bring out my small book and I hold it and I start to and I start to read. So basically I'm just telling a story with, at times there are characters, okay, this character said this person came in when.
Hmm.
So that's how it went.
Nice. I love it. Very creative. And it sounds like a lot of fun too.
And I let him walk. I let him
And a lot of work. You're right. You're right. Absolutely. And, you seem like someone who gets inspired by lots of things. What or who inspires you right now or these days?
These days, okay, my inspiration comes from social media.
Hmm.
Social media or my environment. At times, it gets that people call it writer's block, when
Yep.
you can't, there are no ideas coming in, like you can't find new topic. Okay, what should I talk about on the podcast this week? And you just nothing, like zero. So what happens? What I do is I go out
Mhm.
and I try to pay attention to people. At times I don't even pay attention. I just, okay, my brain needs to rest. Needs
Yeah.
to rest. Then I go out and I see people, I see things, or I just hear something on the radio and instantly I just I'm like, oh, this would be an amazing podcast topic. Or the way someone reacts to a situation can just trigger something. I'm like, yes, I will talk about this. Or I see a post online, maybe Jay Shetty wrote something, just
Yeah.
one line, and I'm like, okay. Or I pick a word, or I listen to Black Americans and what they're saying, like actors and actresses, when they're telling about their lives, and I'm like, okay, trying to see it from not just the story they're giving, but also how can it benefit somebody else. Or I
Hmm.
look through the comment sections, like, okay, how, that's where like you see different type of humans, and like, okay, people think differently, and like, okay, we both listen to the same thing, or we both read the same thing, but this is your reaction, and like, okay, this is this person's fear coming out in this scenario. So I am inspired by my environment, by people's reactions, by, there's no particular person per se, but it's more of everything I am seeing. I mean, just be in the kitchen, I'm washing, and I'm like, my mind just drifts. I'm like, ding, I got it. That's the right thing.
I love
So,
it. I love it. And I mean, I feel like most people don't read the comments on social media posts, and yet you find great inspiration from comments. I love how you're able to kind of read a comment and translate that into an idea or inspiration from how different you and this other person view us, the same story or the same clip. I think that's quite creative to be able to take someone's critique of something else and inspire a whole new way of looking at something or new content for you with your own podcast. I think that's fantastic.
yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
And when you think about like your community, how does your well, first of all, who is your community? And then how does your community impact or influence your own creativity?
Okay, when, oh, the honest truth is this, I heard that word community when I had Nicholas on my show, Nicholas Natali on the show, and he talks about community. I was like, community, community. And even Leah, she mentioned community of friends. And I'm like, it's not that term, it's not something I am used to where I come from. I'm like, okay, who is actually my community? I'm like, okay, friends, the people you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
Basically, I tell me your society, people that are just around, or people that influence you in one way or the other. And you said how do they influence my creativity? The truth is this, it's more of there's this constant battle. Let me explain.
Mm-hmm.
In this society, yes, podcasting isn't a trendy thing. It's not something that is heard of.
Mm.
So it's okay, imagine you spend an hour or an hour 30 minutes to record, then you spend an hour plus to edit before you post. And there's so much work and there's so much energy you've put into that recording, and you post it, and in the next 8 hours, just one listener. And in the next 5 days, two listeners. And in a month, it's just two listeners. So it's it's not encouraging. Let me put it like that. So I'm not right now, I can say myself, I'm not surrounded, like the people that motivate me, that actually push me to keep doing what I'm doing, they're very few, which is my family,
Yeah.
my close friends. Like maybe in total there should be less than 10. Everybody else is, if I look at other people's reactions to the work I do, I think the first month I would have stopped, honestly, because it's you're spending so much time, you're buying equipment. Okay, yes, I want them to have a good sound. I want to, you battle with network. I battle with network a lot, Wi-Fi a lot. And after all that stress, you're like, it's not being appreciated. Yes, nobody owes you anything, but I still expect a little bit of encouragement.
Yeah.
So it's so it's actually it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
The people that influence me, they're my families and they're my friends.
Mm-hmm.
But the people I want to impact, the youths, the my age group, they're not helping matters. Because if I should put a butt naked lady on my podcast now, as you know, the flyer, you say, oh yes, you have like 500 listeners in less than an hour. But the thing is, you're trying to pass a message, and the people you're trying to pass that message to are not interested, and it weighs down on you.
Mm-hmm.
So being creative is just like, okay, I made a painting of Kamala Harris,
Mm-hmm.
an instance, and I show it to her, and she's just she doesn't care. Like, I will never draw again.
Oh.
Again. Like, that's the thing, is they don't know how much their attitude or their reaction influences us, like
Yeah.
influences us being creative. It's just, okay, you have a problem, I'm giving you solution to it, and you disregard it. And I'm like, okay, I actually took my time to
Mm-hmm.
try and figure out a way to solve your problem, and you're not being appreciative. So
Yeah.
that's the influence. It's bad influence, good influence, but I am being influenced by my community either ways. And the
Yeah.
people that are doing the influencing in a good way, actually pushing and encouraging me to be creative, they are very few. I think this is a global problem. It's a general problem that us as humans, we actually, will go through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
Talking too much.
no, oh my gosh, no, that was great. I love hearing all of it. I think it's so important, your perspective on what it's like to put content out into the world and have it received, by one or two people. But I would say people are lurking, people see it, whether they like it or not, they've seen it more than we think. At least that's been my experience when someone will tell me, oh yeah, I listened to such and such episode. And I'm like, you did? How did I not know this? Oh, okay. So I'm, being surprised by it. And I think our own self-doubt can creep in and kind of take our narrative or that tape that we play in our head of like, I'm not good enough, or I this should be impacting more people than it is, can
Yeah.
get really loud. And how do we quiet that narrative or transform the narrative into something else, even though people aren't 100% liking everything I post, how can I continue to put it out there because it's important and people will see it, even if it's only one or two. Those are the one or two people that I do it for. And that continues to give me, that feedback of, okay, it's being seen. If it's only seen by one person, that's enough. And one person over time will be two people. But yeah, it is. It's not easy putting
Yeah.
how you feel or your thoughts out into the world and having people not respond in the fashion that you would like to. I experienced that as well. So I get it. I understand. Yeah. And, I imagine we all have kind of everyday challenges that we navigate, what to eat, what to wear. What are some of your everyday issues that you have used creativity to solve?
I'd say talking to people.
No, say more.
Yeah, I'm serious. Okay, I'm more of I battle with words like, okay, it's in my head. Now saying it's hard because
Mhm.
I get so focused on how will this person interpret it. Am I using the right words? And it's crazy because there's this voice and I'm like, okay, I don't know how to. I tell myself I'm not a sociable person. I don't know how to relate. I don't know how to communicate. When my friend told me start a podcast, you have to talk, and I'm like, so I don't talk. I don't talk. Like, I don't talk. So it's talking to people on a general sense, like aside recording, it's hard for me, honestly. And it's what I do is I'm like, okay, don't think about it too much. Just say it. Don't think about it. Just say it. Be you. Don't try and please this person. In as much as we have to be considerate in what we're telling people so we don't hurt their feelings. No, we shouldn't do that.
Right.
But still focus on passing your message across. So
Mm.
if you do that, when you're centered on, okay, this is me having a conversation, I'm not trying to please you, I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything, I'm not trying to lie, I am being 100% honest in a mature way. So we're having a discussion and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to pretend to be what I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. It's
Mhm.
okay, fine, I can do this. Okay, now
Yeah.
let's talk. I'm not putting so much pressure on myself. When okay, I was prepping for the show
Mhm.
today, and I said my day has been like really, really, really dramatic, and it was this evening, like an hour or two. And I was like, oh God, I'm not prepared. I'm not, how do I talk to this person? I haven't met her before in my life. So where am I going to start from? And something just said, Alpha, calm down. This is a human being like you. Just have a normal conversation, pass your message
Mm.
across without stress. So even when I'm talking to my mom, as excited as my mom is, I'm like, okay, just calm down. She's a normal human being like you. So try and just, you know, ease up, relax,
Yeah.
relax, talk about it, share your thoughts. It's
Yeah.
really difficult, but you have to I have to remind myself, like, that is my struggle on a daily basis,
Mhm.
especially when I'm meeting someone for the first time.
That
that is
makes
that is my
sense.
struggle. I
Yeah.
just I so well, that's it.
I get it. And it makes sense. I mean, I love that you're able to kind of tell yourself or have that awareness of like, oh, I'm working myself up about this conversation that I'm going to have with someone I don't know. And you're able to say, calm down, they're human. So you've had a lot of self-compassion. There's common humanity. Maybe the other person is also experiencing talking to someone new for the first
Yeah.
time and what's there, they might be going through the same thing, and having that, self-compassion for yourself, I think is such a beautiful way to engage with creativity. And also when we show up and be ourselves, sometimes we fail, but that's where we get to be creative. When we fail, we learn something, and if it's with our words or our actions, it happens. We are, as you said, human. We are just human, and we're gonna make mistakes. It's part of being human, and I think it's what we do with that. When we make a mistake, how do we recover from it, and how do we communicate? If we need to apologize, how do we apologize? If we need to learn something from that situation, are we able to look at the situation and say, okay, what's my takeaway from this conversation or this moment where I felt like I failed beautifully? I just put it all out there. It was a failure. And what did I learn? What's my takeaway from it? And how can I use that moving forward? But like you said, the everyday issue of communication is, we live in a world that really struggles to communicate effectively with other people and other humans. You're not alone with it. We all do it.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. And when you think of encouraging other people, how would you encourage others to find creativity in their lives?
Okay, first off, I'd say you don't find it. It's there.
Mm-hmm.
It's imbued, no matter how little it is, it's actually imbued. So what you have to do is how to bring it out, how to harness it. Yes, how to then when you do that, or how do you do that? Thing is, as I said, we are different. We're different human beings. So what I might be good at, I think first thing what we do is what us as humans do. We love to copy and paste,
Yeah.
This is much. The thing is, you like it, yes, you like it, but the fact that you like it doesn't mean you must do it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get? Like, the fact that I like something doesn't mean I must do it. I can just like it, admire it, and find my uniqueness. But the thing is, we so try to copy other people, and we lose our own. We end up burying it like deep down, and when we try to reach it, it's like something foreign. Like, it's just, but it was actually there. You just didn't notice because you were doing something else.
Yeah. No. Go ahead.
Yeah, go on.
Oh, I was just going to say, our brains are wired to follow the path of least resistance. So the easiest thing, like you said, copy and paste from someone else, the easiest thing. And so to get to that point of creativity, we actually have to step off the path of least resistance and dig a little bit deeper. So absolutely what you're saying. I love it. I think it's great.
And yeah, the thing is, we might not, have it like immediately. We might not just get it, might not just click. Okay, let me start soul searching. When people say I'm going on soul searching, I'm like, okay, let me try. You can try 100 things and you still don't know how to be, or you still can't find your creativity, let me put it like that. But the thing is, as we said, it's as little as solving a problem. It's as little as just being compassionate. It's because the world is a messed up place. So creativity can be as, okay, someone is so tense, so up in his emotions, and your gift is just calming that person down. That is you being creative. Not a lot of people can do that. So that is your uniqueness, and you being unique is you being creative. It's you owning up to that. Okay, yes, you don't have to draw, you don't have to mold, you don't have to paint, you don't have to be able to sing chords, just the chords, without the lyrics, or be able to make beats with your lips. No, it's not. The thing is, we see creativity as this big thing, but it's not. It is so simple. And I think when we simplify it, when we can understand how simple it is. Just being yourself is you being creative, you expressing yourself the way it is, you handling a situation the way it is. That is you being creative. So first off, do not put pressure on yourself. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down.
Yes, good tip.
Yeah. Don't put pressure on yourself at all. And the thing is, if I mentioned copy and paste. You don't have to copy and paste. You can learn it, but still switch it. Don't just photocopy it and give the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Make it, put a little bit of yourself, so we know this is you. This is unique to you. Again, okay, when I said I see a post and I run with that, I'm not copying exactly what I see, but I'm running with that. That is an idea. So now you have an idea. Then, okay, how can I make this me? How can I personalize it? That is where you start being creative. You personalizing things you see, you personalizing things you hear. How can I change it, navigate it to my direction, the way I want it to? So if you're trying to find, what am I? What's my field? What's my specialty? How can I do this? Calm down. It's imbued. It's actually imbued. It's imbued. Don't put pressure on yourself. That's
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love that's such a great reminder to stop putting so much pressure. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be perfect or to have the most amazing post, and to allow yourself to bring more of who you are into something that inspired you. So give it your own twist when you post. I think that's so wonderful. And I so appreciate you taking the time to chat with me about creativity. And I have one final question for you. And what's your secret to creativity?
My secret.
Yeah.
It's a secret for a reason. It's a secret for a reason. Oh, okay. I think it's a reminder. It's a reminder that I tell myself, or growing up, I used to have this notion that I can't amount to anything. So for me, being creative is reassuring myself I am worthy of everything good. I can be productive. I am not what they want me to be. I am not what they say I am. I am who I want to be. I am who God wants me to be. I am unique. So when I am being creative, is I'm having it at the back of my mind, aside from the fact that there's this big writing at the front of your head telling you, yes, you must prove them wrong. Yes, you must prove them wrong. But aside from that, it's me reminding myself that I am unique. I am wonderful. And then I just ease up and I'm going to take it. I'm going to do it. I just keep encouraging myself that I can actually do this.
I love it. What a beautiful gift to give yourself, encouragement that you are unique, and the narratives or the stories that we tell ourselves are really powerful. I love it. So thank you for that secret. And thank you for taking the time to chat with me. And if people want to learn more about your podcast or the other things that you do, how would they go about doing that?
Okay. You can reach me on Instagram, the Squash Podcast. On Facebook, the Squash, SQUASH. And I think, once you reach me on Instagram, you find the link to my podcast there, or you can go on Breaker, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast. Just type the Squash, DTHE, small letters, then Squash, all in caps. That's me.
Perfect. Wonderful.
You see small in a logo. You see small lady in a black logo.
Okay, that's your podcast. I love it. Well, thank you again for taking the time to chat with me about creativity. I love all of the reminders and the tips that you have shared today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so very much. I had fun. I honestly had fun.
I love it. I had fun too. I think that's fantastic. for listening to the Sustaining Creativity podcast. We'd love to keep in touch, so like us on Facebook and Instagram. We are Sustaining Creativity. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Tag your friends and your family so they can listen too. We love to hear from you, so leave your comments, reviews, and questions. Tune in Tuesdays for a new episode. And remember, with creativity, anything's possible.